Prince Andrew reportedly told disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, "We're in this together," urging him to keep in touch in a leaked email from 2011. The royal sent a warm message to the convicted pedophile the day after an infamous picture of the Duke of York with his arm around teenage Virginia Giuffre was made public.
A man stands alone in a mansion that's no longer his, not stripped of his title quietly, not given a dignified exit, but cornered, desperate, and now playing hardball with the monarch himself. Prince Andrew isn't just refusing to leave Royal Lodge quietly. He's making demands so audacious, so brazenly unreasonable, that palace insiders believe he's threatening to detonate decades of secrets if King Charles refuses to meet his terms. And here's what the public still doesn't understand. This isn't about a house. This is about leverage. Information is a weapon, and Andrew is armed. Behind the palace walls, a quiet war has erupted. One side wants him gone. The other refuses to leave without a fight. And the casualties? Everyone from William to Harry to the entire institution itself. Do you think Buckingham Palace wanted this confrontation? Or did they know it was inevitable the moment Charles took the throne? Before we unlock the classified files of this royal standoff, where nothing is simple and everything comes with a price, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because what happens next will change how you see the monarchy forever. For decades, Prince Andrew lived as a man above consequence, a royal behind palace walls, scandal after scandal carefully managed, damage control so precise, so calculated that the public rarely saw the cracks forming. But last year, everything changed. King Charles, newly crowned and determined to modernize the monarchy, made a decision that had been whispered about for years. Andrew had to go. Not exile, not banishment, but removed from Royal Lodge, the sprawling Windsor estate property that had become his fortress. It should have been simple. A notice, a timeline, a smaller residence. The monarchy moves on, the chapter closes, but Andrew had other plans, because he knew something the palace feared more than scandal itself. He knew how to fight back. The first shocking demand emerged from leaked communications inside palace walls. Andrew wasn't just asking for a cottage. He was making conditions. Full royal caliber staff, a private chef, a secretary performing butler duties, multiple gardeners, a personal protection detail equivalent to a working senior royal. This is a man publicly stripped of royal patronages, a man banned from representing the crown, yet he's demanding the infrastructure of power he no longer possesses. Do you think this was desperation or calculated strategy? Here's what palace insiders revealed. Every time Charles rejected a proposal, Andrew submitted a larger one. Each request came with a subtle message: give me what I want or face what I know. Palace officials were stunned by his audacity, but they couldn't dismiss him outright because they understood what was really being negotiated. Then came the demand that truly alarmed the palace. Andrew wasn't just insisting on full staff, he was demanding absolute freedom of movement across the Sandringham estate. Complete access to all grounds, walkways, outdoor spaces, no restrictions, no limitations. Years earlier, palace security had banned him from riding on Windsor Castle grounds. The reason? To keep him out of public view, to prevent photographs of a disgraced royal casually crossing ancient lawns, reminding the nation of everything the crown wanted to forget. Andrew hadn't accepted that silently. He was now demanding it be revoked. But why would a man confined to a cottage need unrestricted estate access, unless strategic visibility itself was leverage, unless Andrew being photographed on palace grounds was a threat in itself? And here's the part Buckingham Palace never publicly acknowledged. They were terrified he might use the estate as a stage, that his very presence would become a constant, visible reminder of institutional failure. But the true nature of Andrew's hardball tactics emerged in what sources described as a financial war behind closed doors. Years ago, the palace cut his allowance, a deliberate message: you're no longer valuable. You're vulnerable now. Andrew's response? Repeated appeals for restoration. He argued that his lifestyle, maintained as a senior working royal, was deserved, that his birth alone justified continued financial support. That being the son of a former queen entitled him to a budget most royals would never approach. The palace offered alternatives. Andrew rejected them. Do you think the palace saw this as negotiation or blackmail? But here's the truly unsettling part. Andrew wanted guarantees extending beyond Charles's reign. Written assurance that when Prince William became king, his funding would remain untouched, that no future monarch could eliminate what he'd fought to secure. He was planning for a scenario where the current king dies, where he'd have to navigate power with a new sovereign, where his leverage might weaken. That single demand exposed his deepest fear, that his value to the crown was rapidly disappearing. And then there was the revelation that sent genuine chills through palace corridors. Insiders close to the negotiations revealed what Andrew's real leverage actually was. Not his staffing demands, not his financial appeals, information, decades of it. Andrew spent years inside the monarchy's inner sanctum. Private conversations, family feuds, scandals resolved behind closed doors that never reached public consciousness. Moments of profound institutional vulnerability carefully managed. And Sarah Ferguson, his closest confidant, she knew everything too. Royal insiders were blunt. Andrew may have no rank, but he still has reach. So the palace didn't reject his demands. They began negotiating with a man who had been stripped of everything because they were terrified of what he might reveal if pushed too far. Multiple sources confirmed Andrew possesses knowledge of internal royal crises, managed privately, never public, that would devastate the crown if exposed. A memoir, an interview, a strategic leak, any of these could detonate everything. Then came the moment that exposed Andrew's true tactics. Congress requested his cooperation for a transcribed interview regarding Jeffrey Epstein, an official request for clarity from the highest levels of government. Andrew's response? Silence. No comment, no cooperation, no attempt to clarify. He simply declined. It's a pattern. When accountability surfaces, he withdraws. When offered the chance to explain, he refuses. In a negotiation with the crown, silence speaks volumes. It says, I'm only talking to the palace, and what I know is valuable enough that you need to give me what I want to keep me quiet. The palace understood this message perfectly, and they began moving backward, concession by concession. Around the same time these negotiations reached critical points, witnesses reported something shocking. Andrew was spotted being escorted out of Royal Lodge, hidden in a vehicle's back seat, concealed from cameras. The same man who once appeared at royal events with confidence was now a shadow behind car windows. A figure slipping through side exits, his world had visibly shrunk. But that physical removal only intensified his demands, because he understood something crucial. The more desperate they were to remove him, the more leverage he possessed. King Charles watched the situation spiral. Prince William observed a deepening family crisis. The entire institution faced a problem of its own making. They'd created a system where a disgraced royal could still hold them hostage through information. Media coverage intensified, public scrutiny deepened. The longer this standoff continued, the more questions surfaced about why the crown couldn't simply enforce its will, why a disgraced royal still held negotiating power, why the institution appeared to accommodate someone it had publicly condemned. The narrative shifted from Andrew's being removed to Andrew's negotiating favorable terms. That shift alone was his victory. So here's what we're left with: a man who has lost his titles, his public role, his mansion, his reputation, his dignity. Yet he hasn't lost his ability to make demands. He's negotiating from apparent weakness, and the palace is still listening. The eviction that should have been straightforward has become a prolonged standoff where nothing is resolved and everything remains suspended in dangerous silence. King Charles remains trapped between impossible choices: remove him and risk everything he reveals, or give him enough to maintain silence while appearing to reward scandal. And yet, silence remains the most unsettling answer of all. Not Andrew's silence with Congress, not his communication blackouts, but the palace's silence. The crown's refusal to speak about what's actually happening. The institution's acknowledgement, through negotiation, through concessions, through careful maneuvering, that a member of the royal family possesses enough dangerous information to hold them hostage. That silence tells us the monarchy isn't as secure as it appears, that institutional power can be challenged by someone with nothing to lose, that the crown's greatest vulnerability isn't scandal itself, but the people inside it who know too much. After everything you've heard, which part shocked you the most? Was it his audacious demands, his refusal to cooperate with Congress, his willingness to hold the crown hostage with information, or was it that the palace actually negotiated with him? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to understand the other scandals the crown has managed privately, the secrets that live behind these palace walls, stay tuned, because the next royal file may be even darker than this one.